Hypothetically, theoretically, quadratically speaking, what is the most you can make from casks in Stardew Valley? The 1.5 update added a new item to the game that, in my opinion, makes casks easier to keep track of and much more appealing to use. I'm talking about fairy dust, and I have some thoughts on how to best incorporate this into your endgame setup. Additionally, why use only one basement in your farmhouse when you can technically have 4 basements? Casks are usually an afterthought in my playthrough, but I want to show you what I came up with because it's easy to keep track of, very profitable, and a fun project to take on when you feel like you've already done everything you can do in Stardew Valley. Let me be clear though, you will have most likely beaten most, if not all of the game by the time you set something like this up. But Stardew never technically ends, and I really like the idea of getting creative and challenging yourself with new projects. Plus, this gives you a cool goal to work toward. But first, a quick plug before we get started. I will be streaming my hard mode playthrough on twitch.tv. If you want to check that out, come over and say hi. Anyways, 3,572,100 gold. That's how much this setup will earn you every single month. It's definitely an endgame sort of setup, but once you have it going, it's easy to maintain and pretty satisfying to watch that gold number tally up on the summary screen at the end of every month. Also, I'm going to try to set this up in my next playthrough in year 1. I won't yet have the fairy dust, which means I will only have a payday once every 2 months, but I still really dig this idea. So let's go through what you'll need. First things first, let's talk about multiplayer cabins. Without extra mods, you can have 3 additional cabins on your farm. They're meant for multiplayer, but don't let that limit your dreams. The great part of these cabins is that there are several ways to upgrade them, even if you normally play on single player. The first option is to simply have a friend log on and upgrade the cabins for you. Alternatively, you can edit your save file if you have access to it. This is a bit tricky with mobile, but not impossible. Finally, you can launch the game a second time from the .exe file if you're on PC and log in via LAN. When it asks for an IP, you don't even have to put one in, just click OK. I opted for a mod to make things easy, and I'll link that below, but any of the options I've mentioned should work just fine. Of course, the extra basements aren't absolutely necessary, but I really like having the extra space for casks. If you didn't already know, casks will only work in basements. Once that's set up, you'll need the rest of your materials. This will depend on what layout you want to use. Layouts specifically for PC or mobile will make it easier to navigate your basements, but at the cost of some profit. For the most optimal one, I'll need 756 casks, 756 fairy dust each month, and 756 of my fruit of choice. Ancient fruit is easier to maintain because it regrows, but star fruit is much more profitable. The recipe for fairy dust is obtained once you complete the Pirate's Wife quest on Ginger Island. I'll grow my crops on Ginger Island because I have the space, but you could also get creative and use several big sheds with garden pots, just not for ancient fruit. I filled the quarry with diamonds and crystallariums, and I'm all set with casks, diamonds, fairy rose, and starfruit. I didn't cover kegs yet, but it takes just about 6 days to turn starfruit into wine, and I've moved all of my kegs into big sheds. At the beginning of each month, I can fill all of my basements with starfruit wine. I'll make a couple trips to collect diamonds, fairy rose, and starfruit throughout the month, and that's pretty much it. At the start of a new month, I'll bring my fairy dust, and using that on each cask will increase its quality from gold to iridium. It takes a cask 28 days to reach gold quality and another 28 days to reach iridium quality. Using the fairy dust allows us to instantly turn the gold quality into iridium quality, skipping the entire month, and I'd say that's well worth it. Getting 4 full batches of iridium quality wine in a year as opposed to just 2 is super useful. So yeah, this new setup is now part of my normal routine when I feel like hopping on my completed farm. In hindsight, I think I'd prefer having paths to walk through my basement instead of completely filling it with casks. I like to hear about ideas like these that other people use and wanted to share this one with you all. Let me know if any of you also have other wild ideas for endgame setups. I plan to use this strat on my hard mode playthrough where everything sells for 25% of what it usually does. It's still early on that file and I'm just now hitting the mines, but you can catch me playing that challenge live on Twitch for the next couple months. I'll start posting recap videos and publishing my dashboard tracker so you can keep up with the run and maybe learn a thing or two along the way. The seed I'm using is also published there, and you can use that seed when creating a new file in the advanced settings if you want. It'll give you access to some of the things I'm utilizing like bubbles for better fishing early on. Alright, I'm completely off topic now. If you guys have other uses for fairy dust, I'd love to hear about them in the comments. That's all I have today, so I'll catch up with you soon. Like the video, consider subscribing, and thanks for watching.